Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in to a brand new episode of Life with Johnny No Cash. And as you know, last week was kind of a doozy because of that fucking weirdo. But this week might even take the fucking cake as far as interesting goes. Because as you know, this is a podcast of living off the grid, life on the road, and some of the people I meet, some of the things that I see and do, you can't write this shit. It just happens. And that is one of the great things about choosing this lifestyle is it's a topsy-turvy. You just don't know what's going to happen day to day, week to week, month to month. And this past week was one of the coolest weeks I've had in quite some time. So I'm going to talk about that in great detail today. But before I do, once again, thank you so much for being a part of this, liking and sharing, whether it's through the podcast or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. I have been uploading these videos, and that way we can have a little bit more of a conversation because you can't leave comments on Spotify, which is kind of unfortunate. But yes, if you do feel like leaving a comment or starting up a conversation with me, you can always check this out over on YouTube. So without further ado, I really want to jump into this past week because, like I said, it's just fucking new things being thrown at me every fucking day. And right now, I gotta say, I feel like fucking shit. There's something going on with my stomach, and boy, oh boy, it ain't good. It ain't good. So, without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. Here we go. I'm living in a van playing outlaw tunes. Life with Johnny No Cash. Smoking them smokes and drinking that booze. Life with Johnny No Cash. Where I go, how the fuck don't know. I'm off the grid on dusty roads. There ain't no better way of eating beans. So I am currently just outside of Ladysmith, which isn't too far from where I was staying last time when I uploaded the podcast from Port Alberni. This is about an hour drive south. I'm slowly headed towards Victoria because that is where my crazy monkey vodka is being shipped to, and I got to pick that shit up. So I'm slowly making my way down that way. Now, it's been interesting since the last episode. Of course, as you know, I met that fucking crazy guy. He started telling me off for no reason. I ended up having to get out of there before things escalated. You know, I've gotten a number of messages from you guys saying, you know, I would have kicked his fucking ass. The guy, this guy was fucking nuts. He was a big fucking boy. He was completely psychotic. And I was also on his property. So, and second of all, God damn it, man. I'd just rather walk away and fucking finish drinking my beers rather than shaking myself up even more with getting in some kind of physical altercation. So I just fucked off and just wiped my hands clean of it. So since then, I don't know about you guys, but I have this weather app that sucks balls because when I got back to the place that I was staying at, right, that beautiful spot on the mountain, on that little plateau, I checked my weather like I always fucking do, and it had a little snowflake. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever, you know, like it's fucking late February, you know, what, a couple flurries, no big deal. Well, I fucking woke up the next morning to almost a foot of snow. And it was like continuous downpour of big fucking flakes of snow. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? Like this kind of came out of nowhere. Now I did have enough supplies. I did have a lot of propane, a ton of food. I was running out of tobacco though. And I was having to ration my tobacco at this point. But I was thinking, you know, do I really want to wait this out? Or do I want to get the hell out of here before Monday morning and them logging trucks start barreling down this extremely narrow logging road and might be fucking smoking me head on? Like, this is not a regular road. This is an extremely rough, pothole-ridden road that's only really enough for maybe 1.5 cars. No side railing, none of that shit, just a sheer fucking drop-off. And I'm thinking to myself, do I want to wait it out or do I really want to try and get the hell off this mountain while there's no traffic? So I chose the latter. I decided I'm going to try and get the hell out of here, because the last thing I want is to not only be stuck up here, but to wait a couple more days and then meet head on with a fucking logging truck. And they don't give a shit. This is their turf. Like I'm just camping, right? So I decided Sunday, I was like, all right, I packed up all my shit and I'm going to make a gun for it. I'm going to make a fucking goal. So I start driving, and my van, I gotta say, it's not as strong as old Dusty, my old van, but this thing is fucking strong. I was really surprised. I've never really put it to the test until this past weekend. So I start her up and I start driving through this fucking snow, and it's so thick that I'm actually kind of pushing the snow almost like a snow plow, and it's slowing me down, and I'm trying to weave in and out, trying to kick the fucking snow off. And as I'm driving, I come across a fucking fallen tree right across the road. It's bright and early, man. I had 1 cup of coffee. I had a fucking butt smoke because I was out of tobacco at this point. I was rolling butt smokes at this point. And I'm just like, God damn, man, this is a great way to wake up. So I fucking haul the tree to the side and I'm able to get through. But sure as shit, as I'm driving, I come into another tree. Now, this one was a big one, to the point where I couldn't fucking move it. The tree hadn't snapped. It just kind of bent all the way down across the road. Now, here is a huge safety tip for you guys right now. I don't give a shit if you are camping like me or living the van life. This is for anybody who owns a vehicle. Please, for the love of God, you've got to have a few tools on you at all times, because you could be driving, you could get stuck somewhere, something could happen. You need to have a knife, a saw, a hatchet, and a candle. Of course, a lighter for that candle. These are essential, folks. This is really essential shit, because this tree, there was no goddamn way I was getting by here without chopping this tree in half. So I went at it. I took out my small saw that's dull as hell, which reminds me I do need to get a new saw, and my hatchet, and I was able to chop this fucker down. It took a while, though. The tree was very wet, and the more I was cutting it, of course, the weight kept on pinching and pinching and pinching, so I ended up taking the hatchet to it to really fucking get at it. So I was able to finally cut through this tree and haul it to the side. Of course, as I continue driving, I'm pushing more and more snow. I'm getting pretty nervous at this point. This is real fucking shit. This is quite scary. I could get stranded out here, and there's not enough room for me to pull over for the night, because first thing in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, trucks will be bombing down this road. I come across another fucking tree, and this was a big one. This is something I couldn't haul across. There was no way. I could have chopped it up into smaller pieces, but I would have been there all fucking day. So I decided that rather than chopping it into pieces, that I would chop off all the limbs and kind of build a bit of a ramp over the tree itself, kind of like a bridge. So I ended up chopping off all the limbs to this tree and making this little fucking ramp. And this took me, Christ, I'd say almost an hour to do. And luckily I was able to clear it, no damage to the underside of the van, and fucking off to safety I went. And I gotta say, I was super nervous, but I fucking made it. And this van, I gotta say, White Lightning, you are a lot tougher than you look. So thank you for getting me out of that bind, because I was pretty fucking sketchy about being stuck on this goddamn mountain. Nobody would have been able to come haul me out. There's no goddamn way. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't give a shit if you're camping or not. Please have those tools on you at all times. You could be going down a back road somewhere and something happens to you and you need to get yourself out. It's just good to have. These saws are only like $15 and the hatchets are about 30. Big deal. Make the investment, throw it in your trunk, and then it's there for good. So thank God I made it out of there. And I was like, all right, this is it. I got to get the fuck out of Port Alberni. I got to slowly make my way to Victoria so I can pick up that vodka. But I noticed something. So my van, it charges my secondary batteries while it's running. So my main battery has basically a connector cable that goes to the back of the van and charges my secondary batteries. And these secondary batteries basically charge or power everything. And as I was driving, I was noticing it wasn't fucking charging. And I'm just depleting in battery power, depleting. It's getting to the red. I'm like, Christ, what the fuck is going on now? Like, first my inverter goes, my front headlights are fucked, and now I'm losing power. So I ended up messaging a van lifer that I met while on the island. And I said to her, hey, listen, I'm coming through Nanaimo. Do you know of anywhere that will charge batteries or take a look at my battery? And she had suggested this spot called Discount Battery. So I end up showing up, and I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, this is fucking some of the nicest people I've ever fucking met. They took the time to go through my van, see what the problem was. They did locate that the secondary batteries were completely dead. They needed to come out. They needed to be charged overnight. And they even said it's going to take about 24 hours. So you got to stay in town. I said, no fucking big deal. You know, this is a good reason for me to actually go out because restrictions are finally kind of lifting. I could go to a pub. I could maybe go out for a meal, which I never fucking do. I'm going to kind of, you know, take advantage of this time in Nanaimo. So she did suggest, she's like, did you want to take a battery, like a loaner with you as, you know, when you fuck off? And I said, no, it's fine. It's all good. You know, I have the Jackery as a standby if I need to charge anything. So at that time, I said to my friend, yo, do you want to go to a pub? You want to check out, you know, have a fucking couple beers or something, whether it's in a park or a pub, either way. And she suggested, let's go to a pub. It's been so long that, you know, she had been out, likewise for me. And she suggested the Terminal. This is key, folks. This is key. If you're ever in Nanaimo and you enjoy eclectic, fucking wild, ruffian type bars, this is the one you gotta check out. Oh, man. This was a time. I haven't been out at a pub having this much fun in I don't know how long. Right before Christmas, I did go to the Angry Snowmen concert, which was fucking awesome. But that was a show. This was just a night out at the pub. This place is fucking nuts. Now, Nanaimo, I gotta say, right off the top, is kind of a shithole. And I apologize for anybody who's listening to this podcast or this episode that lives in Nanaimo, but you gotta admit that Nanaimo's kind of a shithole, right? Like, the moment I showed up there, it was sirens and cops everywhere. Fucking drug addicts all over the streets, like looking through fucking crevices in the sidewalk, looking for crack cocaine, or I don't know what the hell they're looking for. But it was pretty disturbing. Now, me living off the grid and, you know, in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, I'm not exposed to that anymore. So it was a big eye-opener, seeing that Nanaimo being such a beautiful place, like as far as landscape goes, it was so dirty and kind of down and out, I gotta say. So I go to this pub and I park my van at a ball diamond far away from fucking downtown because I don't like leaving my van unattended. I really don't. I'm not comfortable enough yet to just kind of fuck off from my van for long periods of time. So I ended up taking a risk and parking my van at this ball diamond far enough that I thought it was safe, and I walked to the bar. And $8 for a shot and a beer. $8 for a shot and a beer. Like, I thought I had gone back through time to when I first started drinking at pubs like this for a pint of beer and a shot of either Jaeger or Fireball. I hate both of them, but it's like $8. You know, it's going towards the cause. So I'm just knocking these fucking combos back. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. The bartender, I'm the first person in there. He had just opened up. And I start knocking these fucking beers and shots back. And he's super cool. And he's like, are you sticking around here for a while? And I said, well, yeah, like I'm kind of in the mood to tie one on, man. I'm kind of this is the first time I've been out in a long time. I'm going to have some fun. And he's like, well, you're going to have fun here at this bar because it is a fucking time. And he was not lying. In rolled some of the locals. And I'm talking 60 to 70-year-old people. Already drunk, probably drinking since 10 a.m. Roll in, grab a table, hooting and fucking hollering. And there's this one lady named Shirley, and she's fucking screaming. And he's like, don't fucking talk to her. She's going to show you her tits. I'm like, fuck, man, this is quite the fucking bar you got here, you know? And these bikers end up showing up. And then this huge crowd of people, I guess, about my age roll in. And I'm just sitting there at the pub. I don't know a goddamn soul. And I gotta say, I don't want to be someone who condones smoking, but man, the smoking area is where it's at. So I'm hacking a dart out there, and of course, everybody else that's smoking, we just start chatting. The next thing you know, this one girl comes up to me and she's like, "You're Johnny No Cash. I follow you." I'm like, "What the fuck? That's so crazy. Like, what are the fucking odds?" And she invites me over to the table with all these guys and fucking girls, and we're drinking, we're shooting the shit, having a fucking time, rolling joints right on the fucking bar. The next thing you know, I'm making out with some chick, and it's just getting blurrier and blurrier, and the tunes are being cranked, everything from like Slayer to fucking 50 Cent. I'm just looking around and it's just a party. I don't know how the time flew by, but I was in this pub for 8 fucking hours from 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. Now, I gotta say that I hate being a sloppy drunk. I really do know when to cut myself off. And at this point, even though it's only 10 o'clock, I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I think one more drink will put me over. The last thing I want is to be hurling in the van or stumbling into my van, creating a bit of a heat score for any of that shit. So, you know, like I said, I'm making out with this chick and paying my tab at the same time. It's like multitasking. And then I'm like, I'm out of here. You know, I'll catch up with y'all some other time down the fucking dusty trail. So I end up coming back into the van and I'm fucking chilly because it's still winter. And I go to flip on the old furnace and nothing, not a damn fucking thing. And I'm like, well, all right, I'll just toss on an old sweater and have a drink of water. Nothing. That's when I realized that my batteries have a lot more to do with the entire mechanics of this van than I previously thought. Everything is wired to those batteries. My furnace and my running water. I couldn't charge anything. So here I am with my sweater, fucking got a little tea light candle, fucking warming up around this fucking tea light, hacking a dart, fucking 10 o'clock at night, and I'm shit-faced. So I just said, the hell with it. I'm crawling into bed, and I'm just going to call it a fucking night. So I wake up because I went to bed so damn early. I woke up at like 4 o'clock and I'm ready to go. I'm feeling good. And I hit the road. I go to McDonald's or whatever, get some water, use their bathroom, you know, freshen up, if you will. And I said, you know, I'm just going to treat myself and I'm going to go have a shower at the community center. Fucking good old hot shower, 30-minute soak. I got to say, man, like, these are things that I used to take for fucking granted. Was a hot shower, but man, that was just incredible. Great way to start the fucking day. And at this point, I give old Discount Battery a call, and I'm like, yo, is my batteries ready? They say they're fully charged. Come on over. We're going to give you a little rundown on how to hook the things up, because I do not know anything when it comes to like electronics or electrical work. Nothing. Not a fucking thing. So I pull in there, and I got my batteries. The buddy fucking pulls them out, and I end up starting to install them, and he's given me basically a fucking tutorial on what to do, how to do it, where the fucking wires go, what goes first, the fuse needs to come out or you're gonna die, you know, all these things that are very valid fucking bits of information. And so I get this fucking crash course, install the damn thing, everything fucking lights right up again. I got heat, I got fucking running water, everything is back to normal. Unfortunately, my inverter's still screwed up, so I do have to get that looked at eventually. So I said to myself, this was a great way of starting the day. I go back inside, I hand them the ratchet set, and I'm standing there, and they're looking at me like, what? And I said, well, what do I owe you? And the woman just shakes her head. She's like, nothing. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, no, you don't owe us a damn thing. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if I looked haggard. No, I didn't. I just had a fucking shower. I looked great. So, but I don't know. She just decided to do a good deed and give their services for free. They charged my batteries for 24 hours. They gave me a crash course on how to assemble and disassemble my whole unit safely. They took the time out of their day of making money to help me. This place is called Discount Battery. It's in Nanaimo. If you ever go through fucking Nanaimo and you need a battery looked at or anything, you'd gotta check these guys out. They're so nice. I just felt so cared for. And that's rare out here, especially with what happened last week. And especially everything that's happening right now. It's just like, man, this was such a nice gesture. So I gotta say, Discount Battery in Nanaimo, you guys fucking rock. And if I do ever need any more battery work, I'll make the trip to fucking see you again. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. And I say, you know what? I kind of feel like going back to the terminal. Honest to God, I did go back to the terminal. And the same shit happened. Fucking Shirley was there threatening to show her fucking tits off, Fucking people are hooting and hollering, screaming. This is midday too, folks. This isn't like, 12 a.m. shit. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone's just bombed, fucking just twisted as all fuck. And I'm doing these combos again. I'm doing these shots and beers. And of course, the next thing you know, you're making out and you're smoking, rolling joints on the bar fucking table, cranking the fucking Cannibal Corpse and fucking Eminem or whatever the hell they had everything. It was the most eclectic place I had been at in such a long time. And it was deadly, though. This is the thing. I could see myself staying in such a shithole like Nanaimo specifically for that bar. This was a community of people. This was just like when you go somewhere and you see something that just kind of, it's like a magnet. It gravitates towards you and you gravitate towards that. I knew that this bar was trouble, and not in the sense of like getting in scraps and things like that, but like I could see why these locals show up there all the time and probably dump their fucking COVID checks or whatever checks completely into this place, because it was a zoo. I'd almost rather go to the terminal than the fucking zoo, because you just never know what you're going to see at the terminal. So, I mean, it was just one fucking thing, and it was so refreshing getting out and seeing people that were so welcoming, and not just the making out and stuff, but like the drinking and the sharing of booze and the sharing of doobies and all this kind of shit. It was just an absolute refresher of a time. And I think I only lasted about 5 hours. I think I ended up taking off at about 7 p.m. And the reason for that was it's the only bad thing. Sorry about that, folks. That's the first time I've had to make an edit in one of these videos. My gear is shit. I just touched the small cable and it completely disconnected everything. So as I was saying, the only problem I had with the bar is because it's all locals and everybody knows each other, they were just talking about the same shit. It was like gossiping about fucking Donnie and his girlfriend and who beats who and, who owes who money and, who slept with. It was just an absolute mess. And me being, from out of town, not knowing who fucking Donnie and his girlfriend are, I was getting a little tired of the conversation, as well as I was definitely getting drunk. So I just said, the hell with it. I'm going to hit the road. This was a good time. I'm definitely never going to forget this. And I did. I went back to the van, slept it off, woke up at about 4 a.m. again, and I hit the road. And I just got to say, folks, this is exactly why I chose this lifestyle. Was I needed something different. I needed some kind of fucking energy. And this really lit it under my ass. Now, I love being out alone in nature, doing my own thing, completely secluded. But every once in a while, now that things are opening up, I do want to go out and start socializing again, meeting new people, people I'd like to call friends. Because there's few and far between. Like I said in the last episode, the older you get, the harder it is. So it was just a very cool time. It was such a different atmosphere from what I'm used to, and everyone was extremely friendly. So after that, I just decided I'm going to fucking hit the road, and I'm going back to my natural habitat, the mountains. So that's exactly where I am right now. I'm right up in the mountains, having a fucking time. Beautiful fucking view. And it's Friday, so I'm probably going to stay up here for the entire weekend. I'm just going to go into town here after I finish recording this and get some more supplies. One of the big problems was when my battery came back on, it turned on my fridge full fucking blast. So it froze all of my food, and it went bad. The moment I realized that it froze everything and I tried to get it back to a normal temperature, all my food is bad. I've got a couple cans of chili. I got a couple fruit cocktails, but I'm pretty fucking low. So I think it's just a better idea if I do decide to stay up here for the entire weekend to go back into town and get enough supplies that I'll last. And this has just been an absolute fucking gem of a place. Everybody that I've met so far, I met 3 women yesterday on horseback, and they're the ones that actually told me about this place. You just got to talk to the locals. You can download a million apps, and they'll only get you so far, but you just chat with them locals, and they're going to help you out, especially if you're friendly and you can sense a good vibe. Ask them where to go, and they're going to tell you. And honestly, I'm in nobody's hair up here. I'm in nobody's way. Nobody's fucking bugging me. I ain't bugging nobody either. So it's a great spot. And I'm just going to do a little shopping today, get everything supplied and ready to go for a great weekend of camping up in this mountain. Now, once again, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I apologize for that edit. That's the first time I've had to edit. And I was 20 some minutes into the podcast and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm not turning back now. But I do want to mention one small thing here quickly before I wrap it all up. I never talk about politics. I fucking hate them. That's actually one of the other reasons why I'm out here is because I'm just tired of the fucking news and I'm tired of every fucking thing else that's going on, whether it's like COVID related or the things that are going on in the world are really depressing and they bring everybody down. But I gotta say right now, and trust me, I'm not gonna be talking politics rarely ever. But I do want to send my love out to the people in Ukraine. I have so many Ukrainian friends in Toronto and all over the place, and I just want to say that my heart goes out to you guys. I really hope that things start turning around for you, but your courage and your strength and your perseverance has been extremely inspiring to the entire world. So I just want to say that my heart and my thoughts and prayers go out to each and every one of you, and I really hope that this gets resolved sooner than later. The rest of the world is cheering you on. We really are. So again, I don't like talking about politics. It just doesn't exist here on this channel. So want to also apologize for people that are like, oh, he's getting into... No, I'm not. I promise you. I do want to just say that one small thing to all the people in Ukraine and my Ukrainian brothers and sisters that we're thinking of you. And we really hope this gets resolved sooner than later. So that being said, once again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I'm going to be heading to Victoria probably after the weekend. And as you know, if you want to check out some of the photos of my journey, you can always check out johnnynocashofficial over on Instagram. If you want to send me a message, you can always send an email to lifewithjohnnynocash@gmail.com. This is also being uploaded to YouTube, which is pretty much the only spot we can have a conversation about the podcast. So if you feel like it, head on over to YouTube and, share your thoughts with me on anything at all. It's all welcome, even hate. So, because it's free fucking speech. Say whatever the hell you want. That's okay. And I ain't going to judge you for it. So that being said, if you did want to support the show, you can always go over to buymeacoffee.com/johnnynocashofficial and buy me a beer, buy me a coffee. All those proceeds are going back into the van. I'm going to get my inverter looked at as well as my front headlights. There's something going on with them. I took them apart yesterday again, and yeah, there's just something fucking up with it. So I got to say, you guys rule. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I love doing this podcast. I love keeping you guys up to date with some of the ups and downs of life. And I love giving you it from this perspective. A lot of people that do the van life thing live in the city and they're always going out to fucking fancy wine bars and shit. Well, not this guy. So I do appreciate everybody's support. And, of course, all your messages mean the world to me, especially because I don't know a whole lot of people. So, please, be on the lookout for new episodes, new videos, and, of course, as I said, I got a new fucking song coming out. Memphis Reigns is doing a killer job on the mix, and we are hoping to... I'm not going to give a fucking release date for when that's going to come out because you never know. Things can always happen, but it's good. I fucking dig this tune. So... thank you once again. Thank you for being such a great supporter of mine. And until next time, you better stay dusty. Cheers, y'all. A stagger crawl. I love y'all. Something like that. And I'm living in a van playing outlaw tunes. Live with Johnny No Cash. Smoking them smokes and drinking that booze. Live with Johnny No Cash. Where I go, how the fuck don't know. I'm off the grid on dusty roads. There ain't no better way of eating beans.